Hey, what's up, everyone? It's Dr. Glenn Bowe, and I am super excited to have this guest on here. But before I introduce him, I want to ask you a question. What if you had someone who knew a guy that knew a guy that can get you just all the great experiences, get you all the exclusive events, someone that can hook you up? And what if I told you that that person has dedicated their life to helping others grow their businesses, grow their brands by making meaningful connections? And what if I told you that man was here today? He's the author of Blue Fishing. He's the founder of the Speakeasy. He's a coach. He's a speaker. Hey man, he's probably one of the most amazing speakers I ever heard in person. We were speaking at the same event. He's here today. Steve Sims. Steve, what's up?
It's good to see you again, man. Thanks for having me.
Man, I'm super excited to have you here. And here's the thing, and we were just talking about this before I came on. I mean, Steve and I spoke at the same event and just blew everyone away. I mean, he came on stage and says, guys, I'm just going to be honest with you. I really kind of don't like to speak. I just like talking to people. And I was like, wait a minute, this guy's on the stage. But yet he just blew everyone away. I was like, okay, I need to talk to this guy. Everyone mugged him. And by the time I made it through the crowd, the guy was gone. Like literally, they call him like the Wizard of Oz, and just like the Wizard, he was gone. And I said, I got to bring him back. So Steve, I'm super excited to have you here. And let's just dive right into it. I want to ask you a question that you've already made a couple of comments on social media, and it's very timely. So I want to ask you right now, your thoughts on that slap heard across the globe. Will Smith, right before he got his award, just give Mr. Chris Rock a little slap there. I gotta ask your opinion on that.
Well, the winner is the Oscars. First off, you've got to realize that the Oscars are sitting there at the moment rubbing their hands because this ye old boring ass award season has just got more controversial and people are talking about it. Never before has the Oscars ever got this kind of PR. So for the first time ever, the winner is the Oscars. The sad thing is, I don't think there were any winners during that situation. And I'm sure as hell Will thought he was standing up for Jada, but a comedian's job on the monologue is to have a go at overhyped, ego-rich celebrities. It's a celebrity roast. Tina Fey, Ricky Gervais, Ellen. Every single comedian's job is to take the mickey out of fragile egos from Hollywood who think it's reality. And he came on and he did his little monologue and he should have just let it go. And no one would have talked about it. He should have just let it go. So I'm sure he's upset about that. But the one thing I did notice that not too many people are saying, did you see the reserve and the dedication that Chris Rock had to continue to give his award? Now, that's not me. I would have flared up and it would have gone tack to tack. But he could have very understandably going, I'm not doing this, and walked off, and everyone would have gone, hey, I understand, man. But no, he tried to capture it, and his professionalism kicked in, and he kept the show going.
Yeah.
So there's all this kind of like, alopecia and, the condition of Jade when he shouldn't have done that. You're a celebrity.
Yeah.
You're going to get into your car driven by your driver, go past your security guards, and then get handheld into bed where you're tucked in like a poster envelope. Get over it, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
So it's a really strange, but quite simply, the Oscars won that one last night more than anyone.
Absolutely. I mean, again, who really watches the Oscars? I mean, everyone's tuning in. Everyone's going. I mean, the media is winning too, because now you're going to all their websites, reading all these articles, watching all these videos. Yeah. And I wanted to ask you, because as someone who has spent most of his career working with A-list celebrities, high-level entrepreneurs, you have a very unique perspective in kind of like the psyche and then the egos involved. And let me ask you this, working with those type of celebrities, working with those high-end entrepreneurs, and you being the person to kind of Mr. Fixit, getting them to what they want. Talk about like, how did you manage those personalities? Because you said it yourself. I mean, you're talking about some big egos here.
Yeah. And the trouble is those egos are not only in celebrities, they're also in entrepreneurs. And worse, they're in influencers. And that's one of the big problems we got today. I remember a friend of mine, and again, I live just outside of Hollywood, so I get to see all of this firsthand. I worked with Elton John's Oscar party for 8 years. So to say that I have an inside scoop on this is no understatement. But they always say that you should never believe your own hype. And there's another one that says, take the bins out every day, that'll keep you human. But there's too much fragility at that level. And again, in celebrities and in entrepreneurs, do we start to believe our own hype? Yeah. And we start to think, hang on, don't you know who I... And you're almost waiting for a bit of trouble. You're waiting for the bit of controversy. You're waiting for something for you to go off the deep end on, whether it be you post something on Facebook and you get crickets. And you're like, well, why aren't people liking my post? And there's too much ego going around today. With me, I think, and I didn't realize it until I started working more with entrepreneurs, I think the beautiful unicorn that I had was I was ego resilient.
Yeah.
And I was the kind of guy that would go, shut up, this is what's being done. Someone else can buy that crap. And I was almost, I don't want to say coarse, but I couldn't see it. And so where everyone was jittering around, and I've been on those red carpets, and this is what happens. Celebrity will go out on the red carpet to get that photograph taken, and immediately there's a jostle between who goes next. Mm-hmm. Because if Leonardo DiCaprio goes, a B-list actor's not going to go next because he's not going to get any limelight. So it has to be a model, or it has to be a daytime soap opera, almost like a filler, but before we can get back up to their ego. And you'll be surprised that people go, no, I'm not following him. Oh, I'm not following her. Go next. And there's just all these ego, but a lot of people are really pushing it. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to get out of that kind of level of business and really focus on business owners to quite simply stop looking at you and start looking at the solution you provide. And that's the key. Today, we're in a very visual society. Look at me. Look at what I'm doing. Look at how I am. Look at me donating to this charity. Look at me giving this poor person a Coca. I'm amazed that anytime I see someone take a photograph of them giving a homeless person some food or a jacket. They should burn in hell for that. This is not an Instagram posting.
Right.
And so I like to work with people now and go, look, it ain't about you. It's about your client. And here's the beauty. If you look after your client and you solve your client's problem, then guess what? They don't care what you look like.
Yeah.
And you've seen me, you know me. Black T-shirt, jeans, riding around on a motorcycle. To say inappropriate is an understatement. Yet it's never bothered the fact that I worked with literally the richest people in the planet that own things like countries. And I would still turn up on a motorcycle and drink whiskey and have a chat with them because I was a solution to that problem.
And, I love that. And that's the thing. We spoke at an event with mainly health professionals. Steve got on there and just blew everyone away. And I want to let you guys know, these are health professionals, right? But what he was saying resonated with them. And that's just what you just said right there. Finding the solution to your client's problem. So again, talk about what are the biggest things that you do? A lot of coaching and a lot of your clients come to you and they're like, okay, look, I want to be like you. I want to be like Mr. Fixit and do the solution. What's getting in the way? What's people's biggest problems when they're trying to solve those solutions for their clients? Are they making it too complicated? Are they just focusing on more flash than substance? What's the big problem there for those entrepreneurs?
Well, you've said it all. For a start, a lot of people come forward trying to solve people's problems before they've actually asked them what the problem is. Mm-hmm. And secondly, why does the problem exist? You see, a lot of the time, people focus on repairing the squeaky wheel on their wheelbarrow that they never use.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot of people that need to, first of all, okay, before you go out there going, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this, understand the person you're speaking with to go, let me understand what the problem is, and then let's look at why there is the problem. Now, that's not me. That's a classic Elon Musk. Whenever Elon Musk would have someone come up and go, hey, this isn't working, we got a problem here, he wouldn't turn around and fix the problem. He'd try to work out why that was there in the first place. Can we remove that? so that it doesn't even get into that bottleneck. So the first problem is people think it's all about, I can do this, look at me, I can do, and they're very visual again on themselves. And you're correct. They overcomplicate things.
Yeah.
They really should be focusing on, hey, I want to help you. Let me first of all understand you. That's it. There's no Facebook ads, there's no marketing, there's no click funnels. It's a very simple situation, especially in the medical industry. It's a point of communication.
Yeah.
And the downside is, and probably last night was again another example of it, communication is getting really bad now. Mm-hmm. People are at a heightened level of sensitivity. We've been locked up for 2 years, okay? Now we come out to a war. You know, we've had politics, we've had campaigns, we've had Black Lives Matter, Me Too. We've had can you believe the last 2.5 years we've had?
Insane. And we haven't even talked about masking up too.
All we need are aliens to land in the next week, and we've completed absolutely everything. So we're at a heightened level of aggravation. Yeah. You know, they always say, check the temperature of your room. And you're a speaker, you're a qualified speaker, you know this. When you walk into a room, the first job of any speaker is to check the temperature of the audience. You know, are they aggravated? I've been on stages, I was on one a little while ago. The guy before me was horrible. Absolutely aggravated the hell out. I got on stage and they were angry. You know, they just sat there for 30 minutes and he would like sell, upgrade, buy this. It was horrible. So I went on there and I went, I can see you're pissed off. I would be the same. In fact, I was backstage and I was. And I had to relate to them quickly. I had to elevate them up to a normal before I could take them up into a state of happiness. You know, just check the temperature of your room.
You know, and it's just, again, I mean, it's something that's simple, but really, I mean, anyone who's watching this right now, you can take this tomorrow. I mean, listen to what your client wants. And again, like doctors, entrepreneurs, it doesn't matter what profession. A lot of times we want to go in there and we're going to say, okay, you have all these problems. I can do all these things. And the other guy's thinking like, dude, I haven't even said a word yet. You haven't even listened to me. So again, just a simple idea that anyone can implement, but super important as well. So Steve, I'm going to ask you this. So I'm not going to put you on the spot. I'm not going to ask you for the top ones. I'm just going to ask you generally, just this is not the top. This is maybe the top few, but your top entrepreneurs or celebrities you like to work with, and what did you do for them? And this is in no way saying that this is your favorite. Just pick an experience that resonated with you.
The only reason I'm still in business and the only reason I'm alive is because I'm very good with secrets. So I can't tell you what I did for people, okay? But I will tell you my few favorite people that I've worked with, and I will tell you a few of my favorite experiences that are not in order. So the people I speak about are not necessarily the ones I did. All right? You good with that?
Okay, good. Yes.
So Elon Musk has to be. Sir Elton, very strong character. You've really got to be careful around that guy. He's like but he's a great guy to communicate with. Magic Johnson, a story and a half on that fella. And then probably I will say one of my favorites, Jean-Paul de Jurier.
Really?
Now, a lot of people are going, oh, who's that? And he's the Paul Mitchell Patron tequila guy. Read up on his story. Wow, what an entrepreneur. Do you know he doesn't have an email? If it's important, you'll phone me and we'll meet. You know, and I just love his ability of caring and building up communities. So those are my favorite known people. And trust me, a lot of the clients I dealt with were richer than all of those people, but you've just never heard of them.
So out of that group right there, who had the best sense of humor and made you laugh the most?
That's a good one. I think, oh God, that is putting me on. I think probably because of his sarcasm, bitchiness, and lack of tolerance for idiots would be Elton.
I was going to ask you that because I've seen some of his interviews and I don't know if he meant to be funny, but some of his comments were so sarcastic, it made me laugh.
No, he's there. I was at a party once and this guy came up and they don't allow photographs in the party. but it was Elton's party. So Elton had a photographer at the party. And this guy came running up and he's like, so Elton, can I get a photo? Can you take a photo? So Elton was like, absolutely. Put his arm around him and told his photographer to take a photograph. They took the photograph, and then the guy turned around and goes, and how do I get that? And he goes, you don't. I allowed you one question and you asked to get the photograph taken. I took it. Have a good night. And that was it. And I was like, oh, beautiful.
Oh my gosh.
It's rude and it's horrible. And the poor lad was stood there kind of like, put out. But he's a very witty, sarcastic, bitchy fella.
I love it. So, we're going to switch gears in this segment. This is like one of my favorite segments here because, again, we want to dive into your mind as an entrepreneur. You have such an amazing story. And guys, I'll let you know how you can get connected with Steve, how you can see him speak. I want to talk about his coaching program, all those good things. We'll get to that. But now we're going to talk about entrepreneurial questions. And this first question I want to ask you is a productivity tip that you like that's for entrepreneurs, okay? It could be using certain apps. It can be a morning ritual. Just share a tip that you use for productivity that's helped your life out.
Great question. Probably the news, the morning news. Don't watch it.
Don't watch it.
Don't watch it. I used to, you'd wake up in the morning, you'd put the coffee on, you'd put the TV on, or you'd put the radio on, and you'd listen to the news while you're drinking your coffee. Now, news is 80% drama, actually 90% drama, and 10% at the end of it trying to make you feel good, okay? And a friend of mine, Peter Diamandis, said, you wake up in the morning and a new neutral, okay? And while you're drinking your coffee, you spend 2 hours getting depressed while you're listening to the news. So then you spend the next 2 hours trying to get yourself back up to that neutral before you can attack the day with resilience. So when you wake up in the morning, if it's that important, we've all got phones, we'll all get a text, we'll all hear about it. Get up in the morning, ignorant to the fact that the world will be nothing more than brilliant that day, and attack it as such. So never watch the news in the morning.
I love that. That's such a great tip. So now I want to ask you this. Again, this is always a question that stumps people. Share your favorite business or philosophy book and tell me why that's your favorite. So the first thing that kind of pops here, besides Blue Fishing, because that's a good book as well, besides Blue Fishing, your favorite business or philosophy book, and why is that your favorite?
It's strange that you should say business and philosophy, because philosophy gets you thinking and business books can get you acting. So I would say if I had to try and combine those two, it would be Dr. Seuss.
Really?
And it would be anything by Dr. Seuss, but probably, have you ever read the book, Oh, the Places We Shall Go?
I might have. I might have to look through that again.
Jay Abraham, who's written more business books than pretty much anyone. Yeah. He's my neighbor. He actually gives these out as business cards.
Really?
So the book it talks about, you think you're going through a grass meadow and all of a sudden there's drops and there's this you've got to get over and these bad things you've got to get. And it's in the mind and the creativity of Dr. Seuss, but it teaches you very easily that A to B is not a straight line.
Yeah.
And it's probably the best entrepreneurial book. And he gave it to me and I brought it home and I thought to myself, I'm going to read it to my kids. And I remember laying in bed and reading it to my kids and I'm like, oh my God, this is life, And so it was a really good book. But a good business one I really like is Ryan Holiday. Trust me, I'm lying. That book, I read that so many times. It was appropriate back then. It's about the world of media, how to use it, how to abuse it, how to ignore it, how to have it work for you. Phenomenal book. But every year it's just more and more appropriate. Yeah. So, pick up that book. Trust me.
I'm gonna have to put that on my list as well. Okay, so next segment is learning from the past. And again, so many times people talk about you look at people's lives and you see all the wins they have, right? But we fail to realize that, hey, there were some mistakes that were done in the past. There's some losses back there. So I want to ask you this: what is your biggest mistake that you learned something important from? Now, if you're like me, you probably made a ton of mistakes, right? But pick one that you actually learned something significant from that's helping you out today.
So in 1997, I worked for a little car manufacturer called Ferrari, and I ended up working with some of their massive parties. Now, up until 4 months prior to that, even though I'd been the Mr. Fixit to some of the richest people in the planet by then, and I was doing this for like 25 years, 25 plus years, I was always in a black t-shirt riding around on a motorcycle. I got that deal. I got that contract, and I shaved. I took my earrings out. I put suits on, and I bought a Ferrari. And I went to a party, and I was at the party with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone in 1997.
Wow.
And someone took a photograph of me, okay? And when I got that photograph sent to my office, I looked at it, and I realized I wasn't in that photograph. This sellout was. This guy that had basically traded his soul to try to fit in, he was in that picture. And we joke about it, me and my wife. We say that was the greatest party that we never went to, because we never went as us, you know? And so I came away from that very depressed, very disheartened. And I told myself at that time, I am never selling myself out for any event. I'll sell anything that you can afford, that you need, that you desire, that you want, but I'm not selling my soul. So that was my big lesson there.
Wow. Do you still have that picture?
I do.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Is it? Do you keep it as like a reminder, or
I do.
Wow.
I've got two pictures. I've got that one, and I've got one me leaning up against a 1972 Ferrari Dino outside a yacht in Monaco, doing my best Don Johnson impersonation, putting the sleeves up on the Armani suit. I thought I was, well, I didn't think I was all that. I actually felt quite uncomfortable, but I felt that I needed to be that in order to get, and I don't know what, because I already had brilliant contacts. I already had brilliant business. I was already living very well. So I could never understand, why was I doing this? I don't know why I'm doing it, but I need to do it. And that's just basically imposter syndrome. And we all get imposter syndrome, don't we?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Gosh, absolutely. Yeah. Let me ask you that. This is actually a question that I would probably ask you if we were at a party together. But let's say you're at a party, someone walks up to you and says, I love what you're doing, and I just want to know, I want to do what you do. Can you tell me how to do what you do? And you have just 2 minutes to tell this other person. This is something I probably would ask you. But if someone came up to you and said, can you please just reverse engineer your business? I just want to do what you do. And you only had a couple of minutes to explain it to them.
First of all, I'd ask them, what do I do? Because that's where a lot of people get it wrong. A lot of people think that I get very, very wealthy people to go backstage, on stage, meet up with celebrities, go down to the Titanic, go up into the space station. And that's what I do, but it's not why I do it. Why I do it is so that when it's finished, I get to have a long conversation on what made them successful.
Oh,
so you see, the downside is a lot of people focus on, my job is to get them on that red carpet. No, my job is to make you happy, so I get you the following day for lunch. And so a lot of people are too focused on the wrong end goal. And when you focus on the red carpet, your job's done once they walk on there. And so that's what I would say. I would say, first of all, what is it I do? And then ask them why you want to do it. There's been a ton of people that have come to me to go, oh, I want to live that life. I want to be there. I want to walk the red carpet. No one cares. No, absolutely no one cares. I have spent millions of dollars with celebrities, and if they walk past me in a Starbucks, they wouldn't wave. It's a transaction. They just want to be paid to do this. And I've had celebrities all over me taking photographs of me. And second the check's cleared, I never hear from them again. Yeah. It's a strange world. So if that's your focus, damn, you got the wrong focus.
Yeah. Wow. I didn't expect that answer. Such an amazing answer. I'm going to ask actually a follow-up. Normally I don't ask this question, but I'm going to ask you a follow-up here. In this day and age with different entrepreneurs having ways to reach other people, whether it's emails, whether it's ads, where it's doing all these things, what I love about you, you're kind of a throwback where it's kind of focused on relationships. You want to build those relationships. So for the young entrepreneur that's watching you right now, who feels like, you know what, I just want to send a text message to someone, I'll just send them an instant message. I'll just do that. I'll send them a video clip. Why is it so important to get the face-to-face to work on that relationship in this day and age of technology and convenience?
We used to have a low sense of attention, low attention span. It's graded now in milliseconds. I remember a while back, I think it was not Vimeo. I forget what it was, but there was the predecessor to TikTok and everything doing the Vines, and they would say, the attention span is 6 seconds.
Yeah.
Okay, you've got to grab them in 6 seconds. You haven't got 6 seconds now. You're lucky if you got 2. So the bottom line of it is everyone has got a low attention span. The only way you can actually show up in front of the people that you want to attract is, first off, and there was a trick statement in there, is to show up. Okay, sending a text could be written by me, could be written by you. You've got to get in front of those people so that they can evaluate you. They can see your expressions, your tonality, your enthusiasm. Why are they there? Oh, look, he's so excited. He's so dedicated. He's so transparent. He's so authentic. Yes, I need to make my job for you easier for you to decide whether or not you want to do business with me. And the easiest way to help you complete that job is to show up.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. And guys, I want to share something really quick. If you guys want to know why Steve Sims is on this podcast, this is true story. Steve made a post that he was booked to go on a podcast, and not only did they stand him up, but they sent just a very impersonal email, something like, "Oh, you can reschedule later." I jumped in there and says, can you come on my podcast? I don't care when, I'll just make it happen, whatever. I mean, again, what Steve just said, I remember from his presentation, right? A lot of times you just got to show up. You just got to ask. You just got to raise your hand. So here it is. And you guys get a benefit from it. But here's the thing. If you like what you heard just now, right? There's so many ways to get, obviously there's a whole bunch of YouTube videos with Steve. I've watched all of them. You can watch him speak, but he does this awesome event. It's like, I wouldn't even say it's like a speaking event. It's more like a bunch of friends hanging out, right? It's called the Speakeasy. Steve, talk about that. Talk about, I know the next one is in a nice town that I think my wife will definitely want to go. It might put me back put me back a little bit taking her there, but hey, happy wife, happy life. But talk about the Speakeasy events. How are those structured and where the next one's at?
So the next one's in New York on the 10th and 11th of May, and they were actually structured to be a reverse mastermind. And one thing I was thinking was, you go to a lot of events because they're held at this convention center. These people are going to be speaking. It's on this day. There's a VIP party, and it's all given to you for you to make a decision on whether or not you want to go or not. And I thought to myself, well, hang on a minute. I want to reverse it. Rather than having you come to see these people, why don't you tell me what your problem is? And then I will get people to come into that room to answer your problems.
Oh, I love it. Genius.
I would literally, we thought at the time, no one's going to buy this. And everyone, I remember my entire team going, Steve, this one may be a little bit silly. So I put it up. The first one was San Diego, gave them 2 dates. I never tell people where it is until the Friday night before. And it was $2,000. It still is. And I said, pay here. And people were like, who's coming? Not telling you. What am I going to learn? I'm not telling you. So where's it going to be? And what time's it finish? And where's it? I'm not giving you any of those details. And people started signing up. And so I remember the first person I signed up, I contacted them and I went, so you've just signed up for an event that you know nothing about. You don't even know where it's going to be held. You only know the city and the date. And I said to him, and it was only meant as like a little joke, I went, what's your problem? Thinking, and I was trying to say, are you crazy? Yeah. And he went, good question, Steve. And he told me his problem. And I thought, And so I went through, and we only had about 8 people sign up. And so I went through all those 8 and I said, so what's your problem today? And they told me. So then I got people in to answer that problem. Then they go back, and here's the daft thing. They'd already told me what their problem was. And then they would tell me on the day, I can't believe he's here. You didn't notice, but I had that problem. And I'm thinking, yeah, I did know because I asked you. So we do that. We cap it off at 40 people. Every single person that registers, we go, hey, what's your problem? If we can't answer that problem, then we refund the money and we walk away as friends and we leave it at that.
Wow. Now, I didn't know that part, but I will tell you this. So guys, just to let y'all know, I was supposed to go to an event in Arizona. I couldn't make it. A lot of my close friends made it, and they just said how amazing it was. It gave me such I just felt so left out, so much FOMO. So I just said, look, this New York speakeasy, I'm going to be there. So guys, if you want to meet Steve, want to sit with me and we can share each other's problems. I mean, again, I love it. I love that. And here's the thing too, there's coaching. Steve's got some coaching programs. We haven't even gotten to his book, but here's the thing. The best way to get introduced, listen to this man speak, right? Get your problems solved. Get the conversation going organically, and I think that's the best way. So again, you said what's the dates again one more time?
10th and 11th of May in Manhattan.
And it's in Manhattan, but we don't know where it is. You'll find out. You'll find out, and you know what? There's always there's always guests there, but you'll find out right when you show up, right?
Yeah. We already have some fantastic speakers that are coming along, and when you sign up, we let you know the hotel to stay at, so that you're within the vicinity. We don't just send you anywhere in Manhattan. We tell you the suggested hotel, and then you get to find out the few days before. But I guarantee you it's going to disrupt you. It's going to get you uncomfortable, and then it's going to spit you back into the planet more impactful.
I love it. Steve, I want to just say thank you so much for jumping on. It's been an honor, and I can't wait to see you in New York. And guys, we'll put that in the show notes. Hopefully you can make it. We can meet up as well, and we can both meet up with Steve. So Steve, thank you so much for jumping on.
It's been a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
See you guys later.